This is a case where a 7-week-old baby presented to an emergency department with bruising on his face that the teenage parents told the healthcare providers the baby had inflicted on himself. The healthcare providers failed to report the abuse to CPS, sent the baby home. As it turns out, the baby had broken bones in addition to the bruising on his face. 3 weeks later, he returned to the emergency department. This time, unfortunately, the damage was far worse. He had been slammed down by the parents or somebody in the house, suffering a massive and permanent spinal cord injury, which has left him paralyzed. The reason why the case was important, and the reason why we have these laws about mandated reporters, is because there is a network of people who the state has mandated, it's not discretionary, mandated that if you see any children for whom you can even entertain a suspicion that the child has been abused or neglected, it's not up to you to determine what's going on in their house. You don't have to diagnose if it was abuse or neglect. You just have to tell the professionals, the child protective services workers, and they will do the deep dig and step in. We would have saved people going to juvenile hall. We would have saved the father got shipped back home to his parents. He was a teenager. We would have saved a life of paralysis for this little boy. He went in the foster care system. The whole thing could have been avoided with one phone call to CPS when the baby was brought in the emergency room, but that never happened. I feel like I'm gonna cry because when I met this little guy for the first time, other than my kids, he's the cutest kid I've ever seen, right? And he seal crawled across the floor to meet me. My hope is when I'm done doing this 20, 30 years from now, maybe I've tried one of these cases in every county. I don't even care if I win every case, right? I just want to try them in every county and make them know that you will be held accountable. This case was a perfect example of an institution that had not given its full-throated endorsement to its employees to do this stuff. And I think in part it's because nobody had ever held them accountable. But there's a difference between having a policy and have it sit on a shelf and then have it being active and alive in the emergency department, right? I mean, that's a culture, that's a mindset. And that's my hope, is that that's what we change, the mindset.